Surgeon's comments this week on giving Ruben Amorim time and the media's agenda against Manchester United definitely stirred the hornet's nest. In his interview, he stated that you can't run a club like United on knee-jerk reactions to the press, while also stating that we have to be patient, a word that I don't think sits too well with a lot of the fan base. So after taking a step back and soaking it all in, I've come to the conclusion that Manchester United's fan base is as toxic as Huda from Love Island. That's toxic. Half the time, they don't know what they want. And half the time, they don't even know what they're really saying. But because it's funny, or it gets clicks, or it's rage baity, it influences a lot of people. A lot of people. And unfortunately, because social media is so prevalent in our society in this day and age, it's gonna influence the players as well. Now that speaks a lot to their mentality, which I've talked about numerous times on this channel. The current crop's mentality is just not at the level required to be winning a Premier League, winning trophies, winning anything really. A lot of these guys falter under the pressure that our own fans and media create, which is disappointing. It makes me think though, realistically, how would football look like if we were back 10, 15 years ago where social media was not influential at all, where there was no real impact from social media? Because now all of a sudden, everybody has their opinion on tactics. Everybody has their opinion on how a club should be run. And I'm thinking to myself, there's a reason why we aren't in these positions. Yes, we can have our opinions. We can articulate our opinions and think critically about these situations. But a lot of the times people just say things and never articulate. We live in a society that actually praises that, where you can just say something, oh, something's trash. Oh, he's trash. Okay, how do you plan on fixing it? I don't know, let's bring in somebody else and hope they do it. Like, that's not long-term thinking. That's just thinking for now. That's looking for that quick dopamine rush, that quick dopamine shot to make you feel good in a moment where we're not great. I saw a comment literally today where somebody was comparing Ruben Amorim in his first, or in his stint at United so far, to Slot joining Liverpool and winning the league in his first year. I'm like, are you kidding me? Slot inherited a title-winning team. Like, I'm confused. Did Amorim not inherit so-called the worst Manchester United side of all time in history? Before Ten Hag left, we were in a four-back, playing some awful stuff. When Solskjaer was coach, there were times where we played some awful stuff. Awful. Absolutely awful. Even under Mourinho, Van Gaal, we played some awful football. But because, we won a trophy here and there, we were able to do this here and there. We papered over the cracks. We've papered over the cracks. And now that there's actually somebody in with a philosophy and idea, and he wants to implement that, and he wants to try and rebuild Manchester United, we're all of a sudden saying, nah, forget that. Let's just go back to what we're used to. Let's just go back into this endless cycle of hiring and sacking managers like we're Chelsea. This is unbelievable. Okay, future me, real quick, I just want to clarify something. I'm not okay with Amorim's poor record. I understand he has the worst record of a Man United manager after the first however many games. I understand. It's not good. And I want Amorim to turn it around. And I want him to do it convincingly. Obviously. I'm just sitting here saying, after watching a collective of those games, I cannot sit here and blame Amorim for a lot of the results. A lot of the times, the team is set up in a way where they should be getting 3 points. They should be scoring more. They should be taking their chances. They shouldn't be making individual errors. And that has been the story of our season. Not just for this one, the previous one, even under Ten Hag when he got sacked. I wholeheartedly believe Diogo Dalot actually got him sacked when he missed that wide open goal against West Ham. Like, you can't, I can't sit here and bash the coach because players can't do their jobs when it matters the most. I just won't. I won't do that. I've watched Man United play excellent football under Fergie. I've watched them at times play some good football under the subsequent managers. I've watched them play a lot of abysmal football. A lot of abysmal football. For sure. But when it comes to Amorim, I feel bad for the dude just because I see his tactics actually undo a lot of teams. It's actually insane that people don't see that. They just see the result. Then they go back and they use their tacticians, their tactical knowledge to try and tell me how Amorim should have done this. Dude, the players should have done what Amorim wanted him to do. That's what it comes down to. That's what it comes down to. Let's get back to it. And it's starting to be super frustrating because anytime there's an international break, the media all of a sudden is like, yeah, let's start stirring the pot. Let's see what we can do to get these Man United fans engaging on our stuff, clicking on our stuff. It's actually sad. It's really sad. It's sad. We're going into our next game, which is Liverpool. We've won. We won our last game. Liverpool have lost their last 3. Yet nobody's really discussing this. Nobody's really having these conversations. Yet it's all about Manchester United. It's all about, well, Manchester United are keeping Ruben Amorim. To me, at this moment in time, there is no manager in world football that's going to come here and instantly deliver success. There isn't a manager that is going to do it. It has to take time. It has to take time. Whether it's Ruben Amorim or it's somebody else, at some point we have to be real with ourselves and accept going through the struggle. When you want to lose weight, let's say you're not even overweight. Let's just say you're not where you want to be and you want to get to this nice physique. Do you lose the weight in 10 days because you thought to yourself, oh, I can lose the weight? Or do you have to go through an absolute grind? Some days suffer setbacks. Some days have really good highs. Some days have really good lows. Up until you get to the point where you've achieved this consistency where you can say you've lost the weight and you look how you want to look. That's where I see Manchester United. Over the past how many years since Fergie left? It's just been year after year after year of just piling on, not fixing the problem, trying to paper over the cracks with flashy signings, players who are past their prime, signing them for ridiculous amounts and giving them exuberant wages. It's literally a formula for disaster, a recipe for disaster. And yet, we're in this situation in 2025 where we have a manager, we have a group of people who want to change how Manchester United run, change and remove the precedent that has been set, a poor precedent, by the way. But for some reason, people don't want to accept that. It's going to take time to undo the years of turmoil. Yeah, let's bring in a new manager. And then in a year's time, we're going to sack him because we're not winning the Premier League or we're not finishing top 4. So then we'll bring in a new manager who might get top 4, but then the next year he finishes 8th, so we'll sack him again to bring in a new manager. I mean, come on. Let's be realistic. If Manchester United squad is average, as people say, which I see and I look at some of these players, majority of these players, and I say, yeah, a lot of these guys aren't really fit to wear the shirt. How am I going to sit here and then just expect them to all of a sudden start winning? One content creator I watched said, people expect things to just click with Ruben Amorim. And while that's really ridiculous to assume that things will just click all of a sudden, and while I'm under the impression that things will have to take time to get to that point, he also mentioned the fact that for things to just suddenly click, you have to lay a good foundation previously. How can we lay a good foundation if every single time we start to get to a point where we can actually start to build consistency, we fire the manager, or we change the board, or we change the players, or we this, or we that? I'm under the impression that the players right now are not good enough. So over time, we have to get rid of the deadwood. And we've been talking about this for years. But the truth of the matter is, we sign players who are not good enough. We've done it time and time again. Or we sign players who are on the decline. Or we sign players who are already past their prime. And yet people still think that this Manchester United can go toe-to-toe over a period of time, not just in a one-off game, can go toe-to-toe with the best teams in the world. It doesn't work like that. When the best teams in the world have set up these processes, they set up these things and put these things in place where they can actually say, hey, we have a 5-year plan of what we want. We might not win the league this year, but we want to win the league in 2 or 3. How can we get to this point? Manchester United never operated like that post-Fergie. We operated off the fact that we are Manchester United. We're a big club. We can still sign the best players in the world, even if we're not playing to our best of the abilities. It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. And it's just annoying how every international break or anytime there's a lull in club football, Manchester United has to come up. Kobe Mainu and Zirkzee, they want to leave. I'm not going to sit here and try and gaslight you guys, okay? Joshua Zirkzee was never good enough to begin with. He was never good enough to begin with. And the second we can actually understand that, I feel like it'll be a little bit easier to understand why he wants to leave. He's never going to get in over Šeško. He's never going to get in over Cunha or Mbumo. Hell, he's not even going to get in over Mason Mount or Amad Diallo. So why are we so suddenly upset that Zirkzee is not getting into the team? He's not good enough. He doesn't score enough. Yeah, his dribbling and his hold-up play, he doesn't score. That's what we need. We need goal scorers, and he doesn't score enough. He doesn't influence the game enough sometimes to sit here and consistently, by the way, to sit here and tell me that he should be a Man United striker. Striker. You want to use him as a 10 in a league that is very, very, very reliant on transition play? He's too slow. He's not going to track back like Mount, and he's not going to drive forward like Cunha. And then Kobbie Mainoo is still a youngster. Casemiro will not be here next season. Ugarte is not going to be a first team starter next season. When Man United want to actually rebuild and sign players that fit this system and the intensity, you think Ugarte is going to be there? He's literally playing because of the situation that we're in. Mainoo, there has to be a reason why he's not starting. People are saying he deserves to this, he deserves to that. When he played against Grimsby, he was not good. He gave the ball away to concede our third goal against Brentford. Why aren't people talking about that? And I love Mainoo. I love Mainoo. But like, form matters. How you handle situations matters. And the moments that he was given to influence the game or impose himself, he didn't take it so far. I don't think it's crazy to think that. And I love the guy. I want him to succeed more than anyone. But like, let's just be real here and sit here and actually talk about these things. This is the fact. Manchester United is not in the best place. They're not the giant that they once were. We have to get back to that point. And I'm not sitting here saying that I'm happy with the way that United has played over the past, honestly, 12 months. But I'm just sitting here and telling you that I'm tired of chopping and changing. I'm tired of going through this constant toxic cycle. This happens all the time. This happens with every manager, every single coach. It doesn't matter what their win percentage is. It doesn't matter because they end up getting sacked. Why? Because at the end of the day, the players, the collective, the fans, they all turn on somebody. Somebody has to be the blame. And the managers get scapegoated a lot of the time. I'm just calling for patience. That's all I'm calling for. I agree with Sir Jim when it comes to the patience aspect because there's no point in chopping and changing anymore. There's actually no point. Let's just be real with ourselves. Let's sit here and struggle for a little bit. Before we can actually say that we're a good football organization again, we have to go through this period of time where we're not as good as the top four, but we can still put up a fight. We can still get points. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you win as long as you get the 3 points. But when it comes to Manchester United, it always has to be the way we play, the style we play, the this, we, that. But when it comes to Liverpool winning in the 90th minute 5 times in a row, it's like, no, they're the champions. Dude, come on. And I get it. The champions, they get a little bit of leeway because of that. But dude, come on. They've lost 3 games in a row now. So going into this game, it's a little more even than you think just based off form. Like, Liverpool are struggling. They also obviously have something to prove, so they're going to come out against United. If United sit back and counter and win the game, are people going to sit here and tell me that United didn't play well because we sat back and countered against the champions? The agenda is just insane. I want to know what you guys think because I know there's going to be people who disagree with me. Fine. But I really want to know what you guys think of just the state of everything. It's so frustrating to wake up every day and see the same negative, toxic, just nonsense being spewed all the time. I'm not saying that we have to force a positivity gimmick, but can we look at things critically instead of just always jumping to the conclusion and never articulating our opinion? Thank you guys so much for watching. God bless. Jesus loves you. Have a great day.